live. Hello and assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to um, comment on what is happening between this war जी जो पाकिस्तान देख रहा है जिस नज़रिए से देख रहा है between Iran, Israel and of course the Americans have joined in. पाकिस्तान के क्या इंटरेस्ट हैं क्या होने चाहिए बहुत जज्बाती लोग हैं हमारे यहाँ. I just wanted to check if it's actually live on Twitter. Yeah, so this is going live on Twitter. Okay, to everything. So I have made some points as to what Pakistan's foreign policy. A lot of things what we are doing is actually right. Um, what is happening, but of course, हमें जो हमने मैंने एक पहले भी एक ट्वीट किया था एक पॉलिसी पेपर लिखा था as to हम लोग क्या सही कर रहे हैं क्या गलत कर रहे हैं and what should we learn from it. But let's recap on what Pakistan should do. एक तो strict non-involvement in Iran-Israel conflict that should be maintained for Pakistan. So strict non-involvement in Iran, maintain neutrality, avoid being seen as siding either with Iran or America now. Of course, we don't have relationship with Israel. Um, if Iran is our neighbor, but we have to maintain neutrality in this. Of course, Pakistan has supported Iran diplomatically, and that's about it. And today, अगर आपने National Security Committee का बयानिया सुना हो तो पाकिस्तान ने in fact gone ahead in saying that Pakistan should support, right of defense to Iran, which is Pakistan's fundamental core जो believe करता है, which is absolutely right. Publicly call for de-escalation and regional peace to avoid isolation and Arab world or backlash, Western backlash. I personally believe the Iranians have shot um, themselves in the foot in strategy. Dushman to but of course, what the Iranians did um, as a strategy, they come across as and what they're saying as too full of themselves, saying that they are a civilization with thousands of years of what we call national memory. But in this conflict, what we have seen is Iranian strategy has gone to its one part is of course there are two tier of government in Iran. One is the Ayatollah, which is the supreme body, and of course the president of Iran. So president of Iran चाहते थे American से बात करना, come across as moderate. So there are people of Iran and there is the Ayatollah. So Ayatollah is fanatical, of course, and what they didn't realize that sometimes you need strategic patience to build your. अब अमेरिकन के साथ बात करते और अपने आप को बिल्ड करते अपने मुल्क को खोलते इकोनॉमिकली मोर स्ट्रांग होते आइसोलेशन की तरफ नहीं जाते और एज अ स्ट्रैटेजी करते एंड आई पर्सनली सेकंड पार्ट इज ऑफ कोर्स कि किस तरह से आप पाकिस्तान आपके बराबर में है हमने झूठ बोला सच बोला वी acted as Machiavelli, we acted as what we did, what we have to, we didn't show it off in 83. 1983 Pakistan did conduct a cold test and became nuclear, right? तो तो ईरान मैं समझता हूँ if for last 20-25 years they were bluffing on nuclear enrichment, to a lot of things करना होता तो ये बहुत पहले कर लेते. So the bluff has been called off, and now what is happening is absolute humiliation, right? um, from जब आपकी एयर स्पेस इसराइलीज कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं और अमेरिकन कर रहे हैं, तो this is to me humiliation. And of course when you sent out rockets, that is another part which I think Iranis did well in the rocketry part, but of course penetration is about 5 to 6%. The news is that anybody could come into your airspace, kill off people, of course, assassinate people, um, kill your nuclear capacity, and of course, your airspace is not virgin anymore. So Pakistan stands strict non-involvement in Iran-Israel conflict, maintain neutrality, public call for de-escalation and regional peace to avoid isolation, of course, empathize Pakistan historical stance, support for Palestinians, not Iran's कैसी जो ईरानियन मुलायत के साथ हम नहीं खड़े, बट प्रो वी आर प्रो पैलेस्टीनियन, बट ऑब्वियसली ईरान हमारा नेबर है. वी हैव बैलेंस बिटवीन सऊदीया led Arab bloc and Iran. That is another fundamental part. अगर आप देखिए तो Iran has overstretched for a long time in building proxies and not to strengthen the main defenses. And what has happened जब वो आप proxies करते थे तो हमारे जो traditional allies हैं मिडल ईस्ट में यूएई आ जाता है, सऊदी अरेबिया आ जाता है, ओमान आ जाता है, उसके बाद कतर कतर ऑल्दो अभी काउंट नहीं करेगा इसे, बट 60 to 70% of our remittance come from these areas. So when there is destability through Yemen or proxies in Lebanon and everything, so of course the Pakistanis national interest get hurt. अगर सऊदी अरेबिया डिस्टेबलाइज होता है या दूसरे मुल्क होते हैं तो उससे पाकिस्तान भी डिस्टेबलाइज होता है, उसके स्पिल ओवर इफेक्ट्स पाकिस्तान में बहुत आते हैं. To avoid alienating Arab allies, of course, while managing border security with Iran, essential part, expand bilateral dialogue with Iran and mutual concerns, terrorism, border stability, and sectarian spillover. Very important part is that the Iran, unfortunately for Pakistan, we have had a legitimate concerns. Iran को हम nuclear तो नहीं बनने दे सकते. That is not in the region's interest, of course. Other part was BLA hideouts within Iran. The ministers has publicly called Chabahar versus Gwadar. Of course, now we know what was happening. So Iranian support was there to BLA to as a proxy. They've used BLA as a proxy as well. We did mention fences with them. I think Sagda did a great job. Very recently, Mohsin Naqvi was there with the army chief. And third is, of course, जो ईरान का सेक्रेटेरियन स्पिल ओवर था हमारे जो शिया पॉपुलेशन है, माइंड यू पाकिस्तान की बड़ी शिया पॉपुलेशन है, वी द सेकंड लार्जेस्ट शिया कंट्री इन द वर्ल्ड, उसका भी एक रेडिकलाइजेशन था जो हमने एड्रेस किया है. एंड थर्ड ऑफ कोर्स इज जो आपके पास BLA हो गया, आपके पास शिया पॉपुलेशन हो गई, एंड ऑफ कोर्स द इंडियन इन्फ्लुएंस. चाबहार आपने 10 साल का साइन किया, उसकी वजह से हमारे कुलभूषण वी हैव एक्चुअली कॉट फ्रॉम ऑपरेटिंग फ्रॉम इनसाइड ईरान टेरिटरी. तो दैट इज समथिंग. हमारे कंसर्न्स थे, उनके भी कंसर्न्स जो थे जंदुल्ला हमने आपको प्लेट में रखी थी. So balance between Saudi Arabia bloc and Iran is essential for Pakistan. Secure western border, increase military and intelligence of cooperation between Iran and Pakistan, especially on Balochistan. Very important right now. Preempt cross-border militant um, movements, proxy threats, and refugee spillover. Promote regional peace, stability, and by mediation is my fourth point. Offer जो हमारी ऑफर है चाइना, टर्की एंड अरब वर्ल्ड्स को हमने मोबिलाइज करके किसी तरह इसका कोई सोल्यूशन निकालना है प्रोजेक्ट. और पाकिस्तान की प्रोजेक्शन एज अ मुस्लिम only Muslim nuclear power has a construct, has a role to play in this region for Pakistan. Very importantly, especially if you've seen after operation so-called Operation Sindoor, Pakistan's image globally and in the global West has increased. We have come up as not as a proxy of United States or anybody else, but we have shown that Pakistan is a regional power which could take on India. At the same time, has influence on China, on Iran to China, up to Central Asia and Middle East. तो हमारा जो रोल है वो साउथ एशिया से निकल चुका है. You've seen what the foreign the field marshal meeting with Trump and Trump's statement when he said that Iran and को ये लोग जानते हैं. Of course we know Iran, it is our neighbor. So and number 5 point for my point is कि watch India closely. जो strategic balance है वो बनाना पड़ेगा. India में exploit regional distractions to increase pressure. हमारे यहाँ गिलगित बल्तिस्तान में, बलूचिस्तान में, LOC पे. Avoid troop redeployment that weakens eastern front, वो भी हमें देखना पड़ेगा. Expose any Indian attempts to align with Israel, वो हम कर रहे हैं. आपने देखा कि इंडियन जो रोल है वो डूबियस ही रहता है इस चीज़ में. एंड द सिक्स पॉइंट, और मैं सवाल अगर आपके कोई हैं तो आई विल टेक सम क्वेश्चंस टू. If you have any questions with regard to this, you can just post it on the link. Let me just check on if there are any questions indeed on. Okay. So, okay, let me just check on this. So, this is what Iran and, of course, जो स्पिल ओवर है मुझे उसकी बड़ी तकलीफ है कि किस तरह से ये हो रहा है. Yes, okay. So, another aspect, of course, is I think there was some glitch with Facebook. Let me just open this. Okay, okay. So I'll answer this. So number 7 point is, of course, number 6 point is cyber narrative. जो preparedness है हमारी. Iran Israel war will have cyber and narrative warfare elements. Prepare for national security communication. Prevent um, sectarian social media divide. And very important part is कि हमें शिया सुन्नी उसमें divide नहीं होना. The Shia should learn in Pakistan that you, मतलब Pakistan is your country. जो narrative है उस regime का might be aligned with your sectarian beliefs, but you need to understand that that you, that Pakistan is more important by Shia, Sunni, Wahhabi, Deobandi, or any other narrative, right? So stick to your government's narrative. We will not go against Iran. We will not go against the United States. So this is what statecraft is, and Alhamdulillah, we are working great on the subject. Counter disinformation and sectarian incitements online, very important जो हम कर रहे हैं. फिर strengthen, number 7 है strengthen domestic unity and border diplomacy, very important. Increase efforts to increase Iranian proxies from gaining ground in Pakistan. Bring in Afghan Taliban for intelligence coordination. If Iran's western front spills over into Afghanistan, Pakistan border, that is one part we need to have. Triker of intelligence and security sharing. Afghanistan is essentially part of this region and a very important part. Um, Pakistan, number 8 point, prepare for an economic shock. आपके state of Hormuz की बात हो रही है. Conflict may disrupt oil supply, spike prices. Pakistan should secure energy deals with Qatar and UAE and Saudi Arabia as quickly as possible. Explore barter trade with Iran, China if sanctions tightened. Um, Strengthen economic resilience and subsidies for key sectors. That is the economic part which we need to prepare for what we call the economic shock. Engage with China and Russia diplomatically, with America, aligned with BRICS efforts for non-intervention and sovereignty respect. And I think जो ये जो अगर मैं इसका एनालिसिस दूं तो ईरान है ने जो बहुत बड़ी गलती की है ट्रम्प की ऑफर ना लेके पहले, और जो उनका लेवरेज खत्म होता जा रहा है डे बाय डे. आई पर्सनली बिलीव the Iranians would get more desperate. The Americans and Israelis have a free, इसका डंडा है उसकी दुनिया है अनफॉर्चुनेटली. तो उसमें पाकिस्तान का रोल बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. ईरान इज आर नेबर. वुड देयर बी अ regime change in Iran? I don't think so. I think if there would be something, but I think the presidential जो उनका political निज़ाम है वो अब ज़्यादा मजबूत होगा. आयतुल्ला खामनाई के हो सकता है, I'm not too sure, but उनकी जो leverage थी on the political governance or day to day or operational governance could weaken after this. The Israelis जो उनकी जो dominance थी, that itself has been exposed with rockets going on in mainland Israel. जहाँ पे गिरे, although penetration कितनी है, Israel's strategy is not to prolong the war. That is why the Americans came. And Americans, I personally believe, after cutting off of the legs, limbs, and the hands, would go for the throat very recently. But would there be a revolution? I don't think so, because that would need mass level of ground support, and I don't think any country would could want to afford that. For Pakistan, neutrality, pragmatism, and of course, Iran is our neighbor. We will stand with the people of Iran. But obviously हमें overdo नहीं करना है, diplomatic support तक रखनी है. What we are doing is more than what Iran has done for Pakistan. Thank you.